pick will be the Syndra for themselves.
No Crocs allowed. I like the Syndra pick here a lot for TL, not only because we've seen that it's actually pretty successful, PoE played it well, but honestly, it's the most proactive pick that I think PoE is comfortable on. So by denying that, you're kind of pushing PoE onto something that either he, A, isn't as comfy on, like maybe the LeBlanc or the Lucian or something like that, or B, you're saying, okay, you can only play Orianna or Azir again, right? So that is really what I'm curious about. Like, what is the answer here for PoE? Does he want to go towards another aggressive pick that he's maybe not as confident on? Or will he go to his wheelhouse? But it didn't work out the first 2 games.
All right, well, they lock in the Lee Sin for TSM. They go for the LeBlanc as well. So Syndra, LeBlanc, we know we're getting that in the mid lane. Those were the 2 champions that you named before we even saw any of the bans as these sort of emergent mid laners that seem to be the most successful, and now we get the head-to-head.
Yep, so he's going to be on that LeBlanc. Has been pretty good on it throughout his career. 26 games, 57% win rate there. So it's not as though he hasn't played it a lot. It's just not really what he's known for. It's not his bread and butter. But it's going to be exciting because this is one of those explosive matchups in the mid lane. When you're playing these kind of burst assassins or whatever you want to call them, if one gets ahead of the other, you can start to 100-0 them pretty quickly, and it can become incredibly difficult. It's a very heavily skill matchup. Can the LeBlanc avoid these scatters with the distortion while still moving aggressively and trading heavily? Camille plus Xin, clear plan to go towards the top side to lock him down. You can play through that side lane heavily with it, and instead of going for an early answer here for Huni, they're instead prioritizing the Bard once again, something that maybe isn't going to be as good in the 1v1. You know, Huni will be denied some of those picks potentially, but the Bard can move to that side lane, can help to assist what will be a champion playing in that side lane against the Camille. And this is going to be really interesting because I'm expecting TL to ban out some of these picks that they're maybe a little bit more worried about from Huni, things that they think could be a good answer into the Camille. I don't know if Huni's going to go crazy here, but you know, something like a Jax, if you want to play, you know, power for power, answer in that side lane can be an incredibly strong matchup into the Camille. I don't know that we will see it because it's not really been something that Huni has gone to. But he is one of those guys that has supreme confidence in his own skills. And if there is a player just kind of busted out in a high-pressure game, I think it might be him.
Okay, well, we got the Jace banned away, so that's not a possibility there in the top side. What is going to be TSM's second ban besides this Nautilus? Still got a little bit longer to think about it. They pretty much know where all 3 of those champions on the side of TL are going. Yes, Syndra could be flexed into the bottom lane, but you much more expect Jensen to play it. So do we go for another support ban? Do we go for an AD carry ban?
I mean, if they want to ban out more of the engage that could go towards the Alistar, I like the Ezreal ban because it's kind of trying to accomplish a similar thing in a different way, right?
Okay.
It's basically saying you can't have the safety of playing this Ezreal 1v2 in the bot lane, which would allow CoreJJ to move up to the top lane and play around there, right? Yeah. Because when you lock in the Bard, you want to roam. The whole series has been about top lane, let's be honest. It's been about both teams getting up there, who can be more effective. And if you can put Tactical on something where he requires the presence of his support to stay safe, then you can limit CoreJJ's ability to roam just kind of by proxy.
All right, Tom Kench banned out now. They don't want to have Camille having to deal with that in the top lane 1v1. What will TSM pick here? We know their mid laner. We know their jungler. We know the support. Ooh, maybe
Jarvan
we don't
top.
know their...
I think it's Jarvan top.
Either way, we're getting Jarvan, and it could be Jarvan top.
I think it's going to be Jarvan top. You know, it could be just Lee Sin top and then Jarvan jungle. That's also a possibility here. Spica's been so good on the Lee Sin, though. And I have not seen much Jarvan all of these days. It will be really, really interesting. It does have the ability to obviously, you know, kind of fill a similar role to Lee Sin, but the engage is, I would say, like kind of less explosive because you don't have the displacement. Jarvan top used to be something that was kind of mixed in as far as top lane. You can play just like grasp Jarvan, Q poke through the wave, go for these short trades with your W, with the auto, with that grasp proc up onto Camille and gonna go for this somewhat tanky build. Galio coming through here with Camille.
Galio, man. That's some nightmare fuel right there if you get engaged on. There is no way out? Well, there might be one way out. Remember that one thing that Camille does not like is yeet abilities, of which Lee Sin has a very iconic one. So there is the potential to remove the Hextech ultimatum by knocking her out of it with that. Yeah. But that's about all you got. Man. And on the side of TSM, they're looking to maybe lock in this Aphelios here, and that will be their hyper carry. There's your late game insurance at the end of the draft.
I really would have liked Tristana so much more, I feel like. Aphelios with the Bard as your support, like, where is the safety against Camille, Xin, Galio, Kalista, all these champions that want to dive in on you, stacking on top of you? Yeah, exactly. Like, something like Tristana, at least you have a shot if they dive on you, because you can actually bust your shot to Camille out of her own ultimatum, and that breaks the tether, then you jump away. Also, Scales similarly strong. I do think this is going to be an incredibly tough game for Lost, and he hasn't had the best track record in this series, has been, I think, struggling in some of these games to stay safe, and this is going to be an incredibly tough one for him. So much early power that it's tough to really find those windows here, I think.
And here we go. Game number 4 of the series. A win here is a win for the whole thing for TL. They will continue on in the upper bracket. If TSM wins it, we're going to Silver Scrapes. Level 1, let's see if we get anything on this. Remember last time around, there was a bit of level 1 action with an invade from the side of TL. This time around, everybody's playing pretty safe. Dash over the wall there from PowerOfEvil just to set down a ward at the red buff. I like this. Utilize the LeBlanc mobility and snapback to get that ward down safely. Just keep track of where your opponent is starting. And yeah, nothing much more than that.
It's going to be the W start for Bard as well. So sacrificing some of your laning power in that 2v2 to be able to basically give, extra potions. Like 2 of those cupcakes are hot cocos, whatever you want to call them,
whatever
is basically the equivalent to 1 potion, because each of them are like a 70 heal or thereabouts, depending on how much AP you have and so on. So it is pretty nice. When you are trading heavily, you can sometimes get a pretty big advantage just by having those 2 extra little heals there for you to grab.
Good stuff there from SwordArt, just being the support PowerOfEvil needs before the game really even starts. As PowerOfEvil and Jensen, man, last time around, Jensen was the one who was made to play the fool. PowerOfEvil just coming out on top there in game number 3. You know Jensen wants to be able to pay him back on the same champion here in game number 4.
Absolutely. It's going to be this skill matchup. It's going to be PowerOfEvil trying to avoid the scatters, trying to hit as many skill shots as he can, while Jensen is trying to nail that scatter to avoid the chains being completed. If you can get far enough ahead, you can really start to run matchups like this where your opponent cannot contest you in trades anymore. It becomes incredibly difficult. Huni trying to utilize the early game power here of the Lee Sin, push in, use the E, safeguard just kind of on yourself for that leech. Just shove, shove, shove. Try to make it difficult for Alphari, but with the grasp, as long as you play around your passive on Camille, even against early game champions like Lee Sin, you can trade pretty effectively. Auto Q with the grasp proc that passive shield for physical damage reduction, and the trades can go okay with you. And that's why I think this champion is just so scary. We might see EQ flash here from Jarvan. Could look for the early gank.
Okay, Jensen with the Scout of the Week there stops PowerOfEvil from really being able to do anything that he wants to do. The chains come out. Jensen knows he won't get out of the range, so he tries to just stick around, grab a little bit of trade damage back. But yeah, Spica not getting a lot out of that presence mid lane.
Yeah, PowerOfEvil, if he doesn't want this to crash, he's got to start really trying to thin out this wave, because Jensen's just hard shoving. He's spending all his mana to push in the wave, and it will crash. So the hot Coco's there, not really getting any sort of advantage, and Huni gets connected with that hook shot.
Okay, but now it's Team Liquid looking to make the play here on the bottom side. They've already gone in with Galio, and CoreJJ sets them up. Santorin knocks them down. First blood, Team Liquid.
Nice play there from TL. TP down. CoreJJ flashes in. Santorin is there as well. 4 members bot. They kill off SwordArt. They deny the wave. So Tactile has double the farm right now of Lost, who had to flash away to even survive, getting denied experience, getting denied gold. And on the top side, Alphari was having a pretty successful trade himself, just trying to hit the outside of that tack sweep for the healing. If you can keep Alphari locked in a long lane, it can go more your way, but we can watch this one more time. It's the wraparound here from Xin. The TP's coming in. CoreJJ, immediate flash. As soon as that hits, you're going to be taunted up. You're going to be taken down. Lost had to flash out of the taunt range so he could survive. But the price is very, very high as they lose a plate, they lose the farm, and the kill goes over.
Team Liquid starting off game number 4, looking pretty strong. PowerOfEvil with the chains on Jensen. Roots him up. SwordArt's here for a little bit more. Stun into the wall. Jensen at 200 HP stays alive.
Yeah, no cooldowns there for PowerOfEvil to actually follow it up. He had used his full combo. If he still had a rotation of spells, he maybe could have gone in to try to follow that up. But at the very least, Jensen has TP'd and PowerOfEvil has not. So if you get a big winning trade like that, you can force Jensen to base at a bad timing. Force him to actually lose some of those minions. But once again, CoreJJ up to the top side, just clearing out that one ward and placing a control ward of his own is really impactful because that takes away the safety that Huni had. He can now not play in the face of Alphari at that tower, so he's going to have to base.
Okay, Team Liquid feeling all right about how things are looking here very, very early on. Jensen stacking up the tier, and we'll see if TSM find a response here early on or if they're cool just sort of letting things move forward. Teleport returning to the mid lane now for PowerOfEvil. Remember that Jensen has already used his teleport, so PowerOfEvil now, with Jensen needing to go back to base, will have control and priority over this mid lane as SwordArt continues just roaming around on this bar. The importance of roaming in this series cannot be understated with how much impact we've seen both teams have all over the map very early.
Yeah, it's been absolutely massive. The supports have been everywhere, Bard becoming pretty important, and SwordArt, every time he roams here, even if they don't find a kill,
the scout of the week on to 2. Jensen trying to get all the way away. The flash will keep him alive. Jensen keeps his cool and stays safe.
Man, Jensen is so good with those little micro dodges, sidestepping the Bard Q there as he flashed in. If that hits, you're just dead because you're going to see the flag and drag follow up. You're going to have the scatter of the weak follow up, or rather the chains coming through. He nails the scatter. He dodges the Bard Q there. Really well played from Jensen. And they're just trying to set up another dive here, potentially onto Lost. CoreJJ has the wraparound. Lost knows there's a chance, so Spica is being called down. It could be CoreJJ in a little bit of an awkward spot if they spot him because he has no flash available, so he's actually kind of just got to like hide out right now until Santorin arrives.
Stay very still. All right, CoreJJ with a blast cone gets himself away. There will be no dive to be found onto Lost here just yet. Remember as well that one of the other parts about this Kalista, it's not just the offensive capability at level 6 to throw Galio in like that bowling ball. It also enables CoreJJ to play more aggressively and look for plays of his own, knowing that if he gets in trouble and Tactical is nearby, he gets out for free.
Absolutely. You know, it can play in the face of your opponents. Make sure you're moving and posturing aggressively to land taunts on some of these squishy champions on the TSM side that want to be playing aggressive.
Lots of pings all over the place from both sides here as we're looking to coordinate our next moves. 7 minutes in, Drake still has not been taken. We've also got ourselves about 45 seconds or so until that Herald spawns. We'll see how much attention is paid to that one. Teams have been prioritizing it pretty heavily so far in this series. CoreJJ joins up with Jensen here in the mid lane. Looks like they'll just move to push this out. Jensen is down to about 1/3 there on the mana, so he wants to make sure that he's got his buddy there to help him push it up. PowerOfEvil going in, chains down onto CoreJJ, and the distortion back means the outplay for TSM. Jensen's now stuck inside the Cataclysm. Santorin's trying to get a kill, and he gets it. 3 Talons striking the last hit, make sure it happens. PowerOfEvil now doing a lot, trying to get the last little bit of damage onto Jensen, but now he'll get jumped on. There's your double kill back to Santorin, and it's a bloody battle here in the mid lane.
You cannot ignore this Zhao, Santorin running over him. Huni here on the roam. There's no flash on Santorin, so if he can get in there, they could get this kill.
He immediately puts a bunch of damage into SwordArt to make sure that he cannot be a part of the chase. He turns it around, he gets himself out.
Yeah, fighting out of there by Santorin. The ulti was also huge because he has the mark on the Bard, so he can actually ulti Huni away from him there, not allowing Huni to get behind him, because Huni would have wanted to try to kick him towards the tower to try to secure that kill, but the ulti comes out, denies that potential, and PowerOfEvil setting this up really well. Lands the chain, SwordArt is there. We know that Spica is arriving as well. Snaps back after the chain is landed. Spica able to pick this one up, and then Jensen locked down. But this whole time, look at that damage coming through. The ulti from Jensen plus Santorin is just running wild. PowerOfEvil gets scattered back, has to commit the flash, didn't have any spells available to finish him off besides that. And now Santorin's 3-0. He grabs the Herald, and he's going to be in such a strong position here, such a commanding spot in this match point game for TL.
And this is the kind of guy that you want to have those resources and have that lead and put the ball in his hands, right? Santorin has been popping off here for this squad. He seems hungry to get back in here and prove himself after having those difficulties this split. Huni goes for the kill, but he kicks Jensen away without enough damage, meaning CoreJJ can try to go for the counter punch and force the flash out of the TSM top laner.
And Huni's kind of just not about laning anymore. Already, this early on, he's moving towards mid. He knows he's got to make plays. He knows he's got to snowball. And every time you walk away from that Camille lane, the Camille is on that ticking time bomb, just getting closer and closer to getting to this point where you cannot contest in the 1v1, where Camille is going to run over this Lee Sin in the side lane. And I think we're really approaching that point here pretty quickly. Already up in gold, probably going to get 2 plates at least, and then base with the wave pushing towards him. LeBlanc is moving up, so if Alphari overstays, he could be in trouble, but we'll back it up, and he's going to be getting pretty close to the Divine Sunderer likely here.
And that Divine Sunderer power spike is oh so scary. The burst power of the thing, the trading power in those really snappy short engagements, the extra sustain you get out of it, very, very effective item. As Huni will clear out this cannon. Nope, okay, hits Alphari with that one. If Alphari had stepped up enough to avoid that Q, Huni could have potentially face-checked, and then there could have been some problems.
Yeah, because Huni spent his flash and his ulti in mid lane, right? So you are not in a position to take the 1v1. And when you are getting outscaled and you're having to play on the defensive, it's definitely really tough. And Alphari is just, honestly, such a tough nut to crack. He's so good at laning that he puts so much pressure on you to get things done against him, but he handles that pressure incredibly well.
And he doesn't take the bait on stuff like this either. You can see how far forward Huni was, just trying to dare him. Santorin with the second auto attack on the ward to make sure that the next one will be the knock-up. Just a little bit of extra Zhao mechanics there, but it's not enough. He can't close the distance to get that third attack onto Huni.
Yeah, those are the kind of more ward mechanics you want to see.
That's like the equivalent to the butt twist on Skarner. It's like, this is a very basic champion that doesn't require a lot to play, but here's one cool thing you can do with it.
Yeah.
All right, Shelly, let's see what we can get done here with the Rift Herald.
Ooh.
Nicely done from SwordArt. That's one of those things that Bard is just oh so good at, is stopping the Herald, rotating around, following the Rift Herald play, and denying a valuable use of that.
Just a great read on when Santorin was going to drop that. Knew he was up around that top side after they had that little skirmish. Had the read that it was going to be getting dropped, denies the value there. That would have been the tower almost dead, to be honest, because that's just a hair over 3 plates, so it'd be down to like half a plate or so left, and could have potentially been that first tower gold into Alphari's pockets, which is such a tough position to be in. But TL moving down towards this bot side, trying to control vision here and threatening around this blue buff and around the dragon area.
Yeah, even though Team Liquid misses out on the money from that Rift Herald charge, FTX gold advantage still 1,500 in their favor in these first 12 minutes. Santorin, Core, and Jensen all working together to steal this blue, and Jensen will do literally just that. Just yoink it away, make it so there's no contest. Santorin with the good timing on the auto attack to secure the Scuttle Crab as well, and Team Liquid get what they came for when they get right back out.
Yep.
Now,
backing it off.
For TSM, we'll see how well this Aphelios can continue scaling. Because remember, you had concerns about this in the draft, saying, where's the protection? How do you keep this guy alive? Lost hasn't been having any issues so far. Yes, he's a little bit behind in farm. But again, it's Aphelios. We know what he does if he gets to all those items that he wants, if he has the right guns. So I'm very curious how much attention TSM is going to be paying to him as we move forward and get closer to those bigger team fights in that mid-game phase.
I mean, mostly it's just been about trying to make plays with Lee Sin, with Jarvan, with LeBlanc. That is kind of your core squad that they're trying to make things happen with. But they haven't really been able to make much of an advantage. Yes, Lost is there as kind of that late-game win condition, hopefully. But only thing he has to keep him safe is Flash.
Okay, Santorin wants to disengage as PowerOfEvil and Spica make an attempt on his life. CoreJJ immediately ready to respond with the ulti here, going after him. PowerOfEvil is stuck in the Hex Tech ultimatum. It's pretty easy to tell which one's the clone when it walks away and the other one is trapped. Easy pick up there for TL, and with that kill on the enemy mid, they will earn themselves the first Drake of this game. 13 minutes and 45 seconds in.
The whole series just about top lane. Dragon's not in the top lane, Flower, so you don't need that.
An astute observation, my friend. I see why you are a world champion.
Well, Alphari TPing down, grabs himself a kill, feeling good about that. And yeah, I mean, Lost can scale up. Lost will have threat in the team fights. The problem is just going to be how do you stay safe when you get Camille, Galio ulted because that's going to be it, right? You know, it's going to have to be some sort of like defensive Bard ulti to keep him safe, or try to kick the Camille out of her own ulti so that you can then maybe flash away from the Galio ulti. But it's really, really tough to stay safe against these sort of compositions that have so many ways to close the gap, to get in on you, and you don't have a Thresh or something along those lines, Tom Kench or whatever, to really keep you safe from that dive. So Lost is going to have to position well. And if you position too defensively, well, you don't do any damage. So there's always that trade-off, right? You got to be in the mix, but not stepping too far forward and going down.
All right, Tactical will be assigned to deal with Huni up here in this top lane. Not too afraid of him, just farming up. CoreJJ makes his way up into this top side as well, clearing out some of that vision, providing more of a threat, forcing Huni to play respectfully and not give away anything else. TSM still keeping the gold lead roundabout where it was before a couple minutes ago. And they're looking for a play, maybe on Alphari.
Yeah, they want to make something happen. Alphari's just been farming away.
Nope, flashes away from the Bard ulti. Good job there getting the Summoner spell, but that's all they're going to get.
Yep, something nice for them, but they will lose their tower on the top side. Not sure who's going to get first tower, as LeBlanc's working away on that one as well, but it does seem like... Oh, Huni.
Whoa! Huni's going in as Tactical tries to stick around without the minion wave for the last couple of autos, and Huni successfully denies it.
Yeah, he's trying to win that race for them for first tower, but it just doesn't seem like PowerOfEvil can get the wave in fast enough. And the tower on the minimap is looking still pretty healthy. I think it has about half, so they will collect that first tower gold. Tactical going to be in a good spot off the back of that. And now, Herald drop mid. This is going to be so much damage down, but SwordArt doesn't have his ulti. So once that's on cooldown, once they saw that use bot, they know it's free reign to use the Herald here mid.
And there she goes. Mid lane tier 1 turret about to crumble, but they don't have the damage to seal the deal. They will be able to return, however, at almost any point, throw a couple of auto attacks in and knock that over. So TSM needing to play around that now as Huni backs away enough for Tactical to make his way back into the lane. Keep on farming these up here, just clear the wave out. 159 CS in this game. Second highest only to Huni, who goes in looking for the kill, looking for the play, but it ain't gonna happen because League of Legends is a team game, and Huni tries to flash in for the sneaky kill, but it's just disaster.
He flashes back in, but his ulti wasn't even up when he died, so I'm not sure what he could have really gotten done there.
Flash,
the Drinker was on cooldown, the ulti was on cooldown, and you could smell the desperation here a little bit. As Huni went with this early game pick, they haven't made anything happen, but they are looking for a play onto Alphari.
Alphari hook-shotting off of the Jarvan terrain, trying to see how much of an outplay he can get here. PowerOfEvil's already down. Spica gets stunned up, and the damage continues pouring through. Spica at 200 HP, Jensen in hot pursuit. Alphari getting stunned up by the Bard ulti means that they cannot pursue that further, but very well played from the TL top laner.
Yeah, TL are running this game. Victories on both sides. Huni tries to make a play in top side, he dies. PowerOfEvil TP's in, commits the flash, everything used there to try to kill off Alphari. They don't even get close. Jensen arrives, PowerOfEvil dies, and yes, Spica gets away, but it costs him his flash, it costs him so much, and they're even gonna lose this mid lane tower now. TL are absolutely running away with this game.
What's the secret? Azael, what does TSM got to do to stop this? Because it just seems like TL wins across the map.
Yeah, I mean, I think they just didn't get nearly enough in the early stages, right? You're playing Lee Sin into Camille, and you're actually down on gold. They tried to roam and make plays, but that's not really happening. Compositionally, I think it's very difficult. They were trying to get a little bit clever here with the Jarvan, but the Jarvan really hasn't gotten anything done, and it's just going to be kind of a lot less useful than the Xin. So it's up to playmaking. It's up to, a spectacular kick, to a pick from the Bard or from the LeBlanc. It's got to be something like that because, it's getting to this point where when Alphari hits 2 items, even with Lee Sin and Jarvan there, you like your odds to 1v2 them or to at least escape, right? It's just like they need so much damage to actually even threaten this guy anymore.
He's so strong on this Camille. Yeah, he's down some farm. Who cares, right? The Lee Sin is the one out farming you, and this is not a champion that's going to scale in the same way as a Camille is. Second dragon of the game about to spawn now. Spica jumps in, doesn't find the knock-up. Alphari says, all right, cool. Just steps right back away. Continues defending the turret here on the front line, making it so it's harder for TSM to move up and try to contest this. Huni jumps in. They want to try to take down the turret, but it's just a bait. Tactical's here, and they're ready for the 2v2. Tactical putting the spears into Huni. A little bit more damage gets it done, and now Spica's the second one. They get it all. They get the Drake. SwordArt can't help, and TSM is falling apart in Game 4.
Lost gets the tower mid, but you lost the dragon. You lost 2 kills on that top side. They have been well and truly outscaled in the jungle, in the top lane, and PowerOfEvil is just not strong enough to really have an impact in this game. Tactical is 3-0. He's getting to this unassailable position where he's going to have the early wit's end. No longer are you going to be afraid of PowerOfEvil, who's kind of down on gold from where he wants to be, against a Kalista who has a defensive build and is up on gold.
Yeah.
It's
tough.
So impossible.
It is tough. It is a hill to climb right now for the side of TSM. Team Liquid, however, with those first 2 Drakes in pocket and the Mountain Soul possessing the Rift, they now have another win condition that they can keep playing for over the course of the next 10 minutes, and it will be up to TSM to be able to respond to this. TSM have only found 2 kills the entirety of this game, and they're going to have to get something else. You brought up the pick potential, right? The playmaking. Something with Bard and Lee Sin working together. Some sort of an unfair fight, because anything on even ground against TL right now isn't looking good.
The most difficult part is that how do you even find that pick? I mean, we saw that Spica and PowerOfEvil actually caught out, you know, kind of air quotes, Alphari, and they're the ones who end up dying because the TP response comes through and they can't actually burst them down. So it feels like at this point, the overwhelming force you need to kill someone in the side lane is basically 3 players, right? You need Bard to maybe show up and have both offensively, whatever, it's all going to work. Your carries are so strong at this point. Ready checks coming through. We're back into game here. All right. TL looking to continue snowballing. And TSM just trying to hover. He's on a ward. Does he not see that?
Okay. Well,
question mark ping there from the TL side over onto Huni. So they obviously spotted him. He was sitting on that zombie ward. And you know, all Huni really can do is just move around the map and look to make plays. Yep. And then all TL has to do is anytime you don't see Huni, you play defensively, you allow the Camille to scale up, you allow that Camille to just keep grabbing farm because he's in a great spot.
SwordArt with a little bit of damage there onto CoreJJ, which actually ends up being more than you would initially expect, because by the time the Meep auto attack hit CoreJJ, he was over the wall, so the AoE hit Baron. It made Baron angry, and CoreJJ lost about 1/3 of his health. So a lot of value out of that auto attack there from SwordArt, but it is still Team Liquid who are firmly in control of this game. Nearly 4,000 FTX gold advantage 22 minutes into the game, and they want to push that advantage into enemy territory. Get down some vision, choke them away from these resources, take the buffs, take the camps, and just start making that economic lead impossible.
Yep. And you can tell they want to play heavily around this Baron, trying to deny vision in this area, move into TSM territory, take away jungle camps. Alphari doing this on the bot side. You know, SwordArt is shadowing Huni to try to attempt to look for a play, but those two, I don't think they are going to have any chance of killing the Camille.
No.
So really all it's doing is just trying to keep him safe at that point, right? You know, the Camille probably can't commit in and actually kill while Bard is there. So it does allow Huni to actually at least push out the wave, but you know, when you're roaming just for defense, when you're roaming just to try to grab a wave, it is a tough position because you want to be playing aggressively on the Bard. You want to be looking for those picks, and he's just not really in a spot to do it.
Man, talking about being able to play aggressively, Team Liquid has so many options right now. I already talked earlier about the ability of CoreJJ to do whatever he wants because he has Tactical who can save him at any time. Now Alphari has also purchased a stopwatch. This will be able to build into a Guardian Angel later, and for now, it'll give him the ability to issue that Hextech ultimatum onto PowerOfEvil, go hard, go for that kill, and then, hey, if there's a bunch of aggro back, sorry, timeout.
I think it's really smart. I mean, honestly, one of the only ways that TSM will win this game is if you can just start chain picking off Alphari in the side lane. And having Merc Treads, having that stopwatch makes it very difficult to actually find those picks, especially as you get to later stages of the game when Alphari is not that squishy, when he has a short cooldown on the hook shot. So he knows what the win conditions are here for TSM and is going to try to itemize to prevent a lot of that.
And I also think Syndra's got an extra small advantage in these situations where you're trying to steal away enemy jungle camps and fight over blue buffs and whatnot, because it's never really a fair fight with Syndra there. You just steal it, you throw it somewhere like 100 units behind you, and then, hey, that's yours. They're not in range. Cool stuff. Jensen and the rest of Team Liquid are going to continue owning this map. CoreJJ is going through that magical journey. Spica gets taunted, but a nice use of that EQ combo gets him away safely, buffering through the CC. CoreJJ looked like he might have been in danger there for a second, but loses about half HP, gets out. You still have Huni versus Jensen down there in the bottom lane too. As Huni goes in, looks for the kick onto Jensen, but the scatter of the weak into the ulti means Huni does not want to be sticking around much longer. 400 HP, Alphari is here, but with SwordArt also showing up, no play.
It's a good play, though, for Huni. Moves aggressively. Yes, he's the one that has to retreat, but Alphari uses TP there to actually defend his mid laner. So it is something for them. Unfortunately, you cannot contest this dragon. They didn't actually get the pick. They can't push through. They're not even looking to do it with PowerOfEvil pushing on this top side. You can see Lost is grabbing the red buff. Spica is just trying to get vision around that Baron. So it is now sole point here for Alphari. And we're talking so much about, kind of the X factor of some of the champions on TSM. You really are relying on bursting someone out right off the bat. And it's going to be so much more difficult with that console.
Oh, it just pulled him right back in. The Hex Tech ultimatum. But the flash from SwordArt will get him away anyway. Nicely done there as Huni tries to bait something out.
Yeah, Alphari, I think he absolutely misclicked through that portal. He went through the portal instead of actually killing off SwordArt. He goes over the wall, has to use the stopwatch there as well. So an oopsie from him.
Yeah, those are unlucky sometimes. And the Hex Tech ultimatum was actually perfectly placed to not allow Bard to stay on the other side of the wall. But sometimes it just doesn't work out. Alphari, let's take another look at how he played this.
Yeah, it's just about the pick on the SwordArt. And I thought they had it for sure, honestly, with Syndra here as well. You get snapped back. Now let's see. I think he just clicks too close, to be honest. Yeah. He was trying to reposition his tack sweep and just click too far to the right and just gets pulled through. Because if you actually click on that portal, you're going to get pulled through even if you're not directly on it.
Oh, Tactical could be in some danger here, but it's CoreJJ coming to the rescue. And goodbye to SwordArt. Rampage for the Team Liquid AD carry. Spica gets away with a whole bunch of spears in his back. He cannot return to the front lines in that condition. And with the pick on the enemy support, TL goes straight to Baron.
Yeah, I mean, they have Kalista. He's going to heal right back up to full. He's going to help you to secure this. It looked like TSM was probably trying to move for an aggressive play. CoreJJ just ults in, shuts that down completely. And this Baron's dying so fast. It is not a 50-50. Spica has no flash.
CoreJJ flashes over the wall for the taunt, looking to immediately force this fight against TSM. CoreJJ walking away now with TL having secured the Baron. Nice stasis from Core, making sure there is no punish from TSM. Huni with a good kick, canceling the Camille ulti. Team Liquid continues to chase. Santorin using the ulti to make sure he doesn't die now. TL is looking for more. Sonic Wave won't find much over the wall there. TL disengaging. TSM, there's nothing to find here. PowerOfEvil continues the chase, but nobody else can go with them. And that means TL gets Baron and they get away.
Yeah, they have a ton of gold. Just go back to base, spend it up, secure your advantage here. Get ready to push these side lanes, extend that advantage even further. They already are running the side lanes. Now they have the Baron buff to just extend their gold lead to increase the FTX gold advantage, take down the tier 2 mid, take down the tier 2 top here. Luxury items coming through. Santorin grabs the stopwatch. The third item already completed for Tactical. He gets a Zeal on top. And they're one dragon away from Soul. It's so hard to see a TSM come back from this spot. TL have just been bulletproof in this fourth game. And honestly, they've been bulletproof in 3 out of the 4 games. It's starting to feel like Game 3 was just a blip on the radar because TL have ran the series from the blue side, and the only win that TSM were able to grab was on the blue side themselves.
PowerOfEvil going for a little bit of damage here onto Santorin, but it won't do much. Lots of pressure here from TL. 4-man mid, and then you've got Alphari in the side lane, pushing down bottom. 1 minute and 30 seconds until the Mountain Soul spawns. If Team Liquid gets it, you have to feel like things are just utterly doomed for the side of TSM.
Yeah, I mean, TSM have some wards over by that dragon to maybe make something happen, but they have no vision in their own jungle. That's the biggest problem. They're being pushed in on all sides here. The Baron buff is going to last until that dragon is spawning. They do proc shield bow there, a nice little combo coming through from PowerOfEvil, but Tactical just back it up, get access to one wave. He'll be right back to full here. So unless TSM can try to force a play immediately, it's not going to really result in anything.
Okay, TSM moving together, looking to maybe find something here. Nope, that's Alphari. You just can't try to force any sort of a play onto him, even if you just find him there in the jungle. He is so slippery on this Camille, and now that he's drawn some attention away, the rest of Team Liquid feels comfortable pushing towards the tier 3 turret here. In mid lane, they've got that enchanted cannon minion, putting the damage into it as well. Santorin steps up a little bit far, but not too far. TSM can't get the punish there. PowerOfEvil dashes forward, looking for a little bit of anything, but he won't get it. CoreJJ with the ulti as the TP comes in, and Alphari's ready to join the fight. Santorin's on the front still. Tactical at 1/4 HP. TSM will manage to defend the tier 3 turret for now.
Yeah, TSM trading very aggressively there. Good job actually defending this Baron push. They force out the TP from Alphari, but the problem again, Soul is on the table. Can they actually get over there in time? It's going to spawn, and it's going to go down so quickly. They're TPing for it. They know this could be the game.
They're going for the TP now. Huni's ready to try to fight and contest, but it's going to be secured by Tactical. Huni now stuck in the Hextech ultimatum with a good Dragon's Rage to get away. The stasis goes through to keep him alive for an extra moment, with Sterix also doing the same, but now a very nice stasis from Jensen sets TSM up for disaster as they will crumble. Lost tries to stand and fight, but Tactical's ready to go. It's PowerOfEvil against the entirety of Team Liquid, and they will march this wave into the base.
Welcome to the World Championship, Team Liquid. They're gonna punch their ticket.
There is nothing for PowerOfEvil to do here. The damage in the last team fight, CoreJJ did more than 3 players on TSM. That is how dominant Team Liquid have been here in this game. Nexus turrets are already going down. PowerOfEvil's looking for any chance to maybe just waste some of their time. All he does is give over a kill. There is nothing more to be found. SwordArt with an ulti, only to buy an extra moment. The auto attacks keep on coming through. Team Liquid keeps on going. Now they're going to turn around and go for a couple of kills. They will kill SwordArt once more. Team Liquid, 3-1, takes down TSM and earns themselves a spot at Worlds.
They are running over the upper bracket.
They slammed Cloud9. They slammed TSM. This team is frightening.
They absolutely are, and they have got to be heavy favorites for the LCS Championship. Coming off of these 2 series, they have looked so solid. TSM came into it with a very clear game plan to punish top, to play red side, to go at Alphari, and it just didn't work. TL were too solid, too bulletproof here. Alphari's laning was fantastic.
Yeah.
And Team Liquid, more importantly, it was a team effort to actually cover any time that they were at risk, anytime that Alphari was going to get dove, that nail would actually be hit home, that they could create such an advantage they couldn't come back from. There's 2, 3, 4 members up there protecting him on the dive, turning plays around. And honestly, it just felt like TSM figured out what they wanted to get done too late into the series. If they were to rematch, I think it maybe looks a little bit different, because I think TSM would abandon the red side strategy completely. They'd play from
start on blue,
because that's the only win that they got.
Yep.
But, given that it came in the 3rd game, TL have side selection in 4, they go to blue again, and they just close it out. That 4th game was not close at all. They dominated.
And I want to go back to what you were talking about in game 1, because this series was so fun to watch because of what you were talking about, not just from Team Liquid, but similar things from TSM. The rotations and the team play and the covering those plays, and specifically what you said, like, hey, a game with Lee Sin and Zhao can have no kills early if both teams are constantly responding and denying it over and over and over again. So I thought that despite the fact that it looked pretty one-sided for TL, we got to see some cool things from both of the squads here. Obviously, TSM did have a really good game 3, but unfortunately for them, you got to get more than one, and it was Team Liquid lining them up and knocking them down here in this series. I have been informed that our player of the series is Mr. Santorin on a tear through the jungle.
Yeah, absolutely well-deserved. He was crushing it across the series. You're talking about covering his top laner. He was one of the key components of that. He was up there at the right times. He was being efficient with his time, keeping up or ahead with farm, finding kills, finding the right timings to actually protect Alphari when he was at risk. And in their wins, 2 deaths across 3 games in their wins.
That's pretty good.
Absolutely dominant.
I'll take that. I'll take that any situation.
Yeah, game 1 was all about the coverage on top side, so he has no kills or assists, but it was about the inaction that actually put them in an advantage. Games 2 and 4, 4 kills and assists in each of those. Pre-15, he was just crushing it. And it looks so good to have him back, to have Alphari back, the intended squad that we saw at the start of the year.
Yeah.
This is the squad that, did make it to the spring finals. They weren't even able to use Santorin, unfortunately for them. But, I mean, they are just looking terrifying.
Yeah, that's what I look at, right? So many people looked at Team Liquid coming into this year, and they're like, wow, holy moly, man, that's a super team. But then just issues and problems and circumstances beyond their control, we never really got to see the full Megazord assembled. And now you understand why it's the thing summoned at the end of every episode to kick ass. Because that's what they do. And it's pretty incredible to see, because they've got a plan, because they come in looking clean, and because even when they don't, even when they lose, like game number 3, they bounce right back in game number 4. Hey, we'll have Jensen joining the analyst desk a little later on.